Most people who live in this country probably have really cool grandparents, but my grandma's different. Although she's really special to me, I didn't see her much when I was growing up. I lived about 300 miles away. This is my journey of discovery. I want to find out more about the extraordinary life she's led.
That's what I like about her. And if I love you, watch out. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You sure you got me on focus?
Yeah.
And I look beautiful?
Yeah.
Intelligent?
Yeah.
Young? Tall?
This is the story of my nonna, Maria Rosa Wright. She was born in Venice, Italy and moved to Hartlepool, England to marry my nonno Sam, my grandpa. As a child, I was fascinated by Nonna's accent and background. Now I'm older, I can explore this fascination and find out more about this incredible woman's story.
I lived in Venice, which is a beautiful city, as many people know, and it sounds a bit conceited in saying that I live in a palace, but I did live in a palace, and it was a palace, Palazzo Morosini, in a square called Campo San Stefano, 2803, 2803, I remember the number, and it was a huge apartment, a beautiful apartment, but originally it was the servants' quarters apartment. We had a lot of rooms, about 6 bedrooms, a bathroom, a toilet, a kitchen, many passages, secret passages even. When I think of the apartment, I do remember the corner bedroom, not for beautiful thoughts, but for a very sad one, because the day that the English were invading Italy, at least Venice, I vividly remember peeping through the shutters, and this German had a grenade in his hand, and he threw the grenade out. So I'm afraid very often now, when I think of my house, and I think of that corner bedroom, I see the German throwing the grenade down. But apart from that, I have wonderful memories, wonderful memories.
Nonna must have been a really driven young woman. During the war, her passion for the English language brought her together with her true love.
Yes, now, your grandfather I met while being an interpreter for the English forces. I worked for NAFI EFI in a great big palace in Venice where the armed forces had come to run places, restaurant, cafeteria, gift shop, barber shop, dances, game, all sorts of things like library, all that. Dreams of about who I would have married as a type of a man. I didn't think very much about that. But because I was young and I did like sweets an awful lot, I said to my mother, you know, Mum, I think I would like to marry a man that has got a sweet shop or a cake shop. My mother looked at me in disgust and she said, you silly little girl, what do you want to marry a man with a sweet shop? Why, because I can have as many sweets as I like. Don't be silly, girl. Why don't you marry a rich man and he'll buy as many shops or as many sweets as you like? My mother, she knew better than me. She certainly did. Well, I married a man with a sweet shop. That was okay.
I always wondered what it was like for Nonna to adapt to a new life in Britain. She certainly had some strange dreams and wishes.
2 dreams of mine were to own a house made of bricks, which in Venice it is impossible with palaces or even in the country, painted in white, pink or cream, and to have a blonde boy. Oh, if I could have had a blonde boy, it would have been an incredible achievement and a dream come true. And I did get a blonde boy. My first one was dark hair, but my second one, he was blonde and he had blue eyes and he was chubby and he was lovely and I kissed him all the time.
One thing I've learnt to appreciate is Nonna's courage. I can remember when I left home to come to uni. I asked her if she was scared leaving Venice for Hartlepool.
Oh yes, indeed I was scared. The travel was to the unknown and there was no security of travel. You could only travel to Calais, then you were left at your own devices. If you had enough money, you could cross the channel and come into England, and if not, and on your own at 20, with a war that has always kept you inside their homes. And then all of a sudden you find yourself among strangers, speaking French, speaking English, speaking Belgian, Flemish, other languages. The crowded, the people in the train was... On the roof they were travelling. In the toilet you couldn't go. They were squeezing in there. It's incredible. The second time I went to Italy, I had to get out of the toilet windows. Look at the size of me. I was scared leaving my family. I had a lovely family. My father, my mother. And at the railway station in Venice, my father said to me, Maria Rosa, never be afraid. Remember, this is your home. We're still your parents. And that has been my comforting thought all the time.
When I was young, I loved coming to see Nonna and Nonno. Nonna always played games with us and she had loads of energy. She used to kiss me and my brother way too much. I asked her what her Nonna was like.
My grandmother, you are touching really a soft spot. I am your grandmother and you get me round your little finger. My grandmother, she was a lioness. No, she was a lion. She looked like a lion. She was tall. She was intelligent. I must say that she was intelligent. She lived with us many, many years. But, oh my goodness me, she never cuddled me. She never loved me. She never gave me a penny. Look at the pennies I've given you. Never gave me a penny. She would even accuse me of taking sugar, and I hadn't. She was a little bit of a terror, believe me, my grandmother. She lived with us many years till she was 91, but not all the time, because in the end she had to go into a home. And before she was dying, I went to Venice from Hartlepool, and I went to see my grandmother, and I said, how are you, Nonna? And she said, oh, you know what I think I've got? I've got something that the people call it a cold. My grandmother was 91 and never had a cold. She had 8 children, a husband, and never a cold in their life. I've got what people, I think, call a cold. But she was still my grandmother.
Nonna must have had to make a lot of changes to her life when she came here. I wondered how she felt and did she miss the atmosphere of Venice?
Well, I moved in England. I not only missed my mum and dad, I missed my little sister. She was only 6 years old. And my other sister, that I was very, very friendly and very, very getting on with her terribly well. And I also miss my typewriter, and I miss speaking Venetian. I miss all those things. They were part of my living, part of my family. And the nice house that I left behind. Yes, that too. Never mind. Things got better.
To find out a bit more about some of my relations, some of whom I know very little about, Nonna and I looked at some old photo albums. Where's that?
Oh, that one, just a minute, Hannah. Oh yes, we were on holiday and it was just on the departure day. I remember that very well. There's me, Sam, and one of the ladies on the holiday with us. It was a very, very hot day, and I remember thinking, I am so glad I'm going back to England.
How old were you then?
I don't know, I probably was in my 40s, late 40s, I think. Yes.
Right. Ooh. You look nice there.
Yes, I like myself there. That's a nice photograph. That's outside the hotel on the Lido di Jesolo. It was a nice hotel. It was about the end of May, and so in the evening we used to go for a walk, and that was when it was taken, just before to go for our evening walk. Oh, this is my father. Oh, my darling father, my beautiful father. I always thought he looked like a doctor. Yes, a very nice gentleman. He was very well. That means cavaliere or knight, because he did have the honour bestowed upon him by the Italian government for service rendered to art and industry. He got the White Cross. Very, very proud of that.
What does that mean? He's like a sir?
No, like a sir. No, more like an OBE, an MBE, something like that.
I don't know.
When I was little, they used to say I looked like my dad, but then I thought I look more like my mother. Sometimes I think I am my mother. Now that's my sister, my youngest sister. She was a beauty. She really was a beauty. People, men I should say, looked round to look at her twice. They used to call her, she was like a little younger Gina Lollobrigida. That's my husband, Sam, myself, my mum, my father, the man of honour, and my sister, of course younger than I am. And if you look properly, she's with child. That's her husband, the lawyer, and that's my brother, the priest.
That must be Nono.
That is Nono, yes. I think he was 18 there. Hey, he was 18, I was 6. Can you imagine if this 18-year-old man says to this little girl, I'll marry you one day? I think they would have both run away. I was told when I was 17, he was 17. I thought he was 18. There you are. Yes, so definitely it was only 5.
It's older than 17, I think.
It does, yes.
Nona's stories of the past really made it come alive. I decided to take her back to the street where she spent many years working at the sweet shop. I wanted to see what it looked like now and if it's changed. So this is it then?
Well, Hannah, it does look as though it is. It says Musgrave Walk there. It used to be called Musgrave Street. A very, very long walk from here. A long street full of shops of every description. We had a wet fit shop there. We had a vegetable shop. We had a sale room, that's right, we had a sale room. On the side here there were all shops, all privately owned.
How long have these houses been here then?
Well, these houses must have been here for about 25 years, 30 years. And things changed, my goodness me, I wouldn't have recognised this place at all.
Did that school used to be there or not?
Not that, I don't recollect that school at all. No, there used to be a church down here, further down, called St. James, a very old church, probably 17th century, very old.
So you actually used to work in the shop with Nono?
Oh, yes, I did. I used to work in the shop with Nono and bring the pram, leave it in the centre of the shop, and then do the work. I used to enjoy very much to do the chocolate, but above all, I used to enjoy to do the Easter eggs. And I was cleverer than your Nono as well.
Why?
And he was his trade, and it was not my... Because I love decorating them. We used to put the names on, put flowers on, alter the colour, and all sorts of things. Hard work, yes, your poor Nono did work very hard, right up to 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Used to sleep on a table inside the shop, not to come upstairs to be with me, because time had to be made so that when the mold out for the half of the egg, and then start putting, with new hot chocolate, yes, well, tepid really, yes. Well, it was hard work, but we did all right. We managed to buy the house. Oh, Anna, see that one? It used to be a bicycle shop. There used to be hundreds of bicycles outside there, all colours, all sizes. I would have liked a bicycle myself.
So what was it like working with Nonno Sam? Did you get on with each other or did you end up fighting?
Unbelievably so, yes, we did get on very well actually. Mind you, I was subdued in those days, believe me, I was very timid and shy. It's a different story now. But we did get on, yes, I learnt a lot from him, but in the end, as I said, I was really cleverer than he was. Well, things have changed naturally now. Well, he thought he was my boss, but actually I was the boss myself.
Does it, coming back here, does it bring back fond memories or...?
Very fond memory, Hannah. Yes, I was really happy. I liked very much working in the shop. I was with your nonno, we were making money, we were progressing. We were getting on fine. No problem at all. Very fond memory. But the past is past.
Yeah. So do you think this has changed? Well, I don't think it's very nice really around here, do you?
No, I don't think it's very nice at all. But at the same time, they're accommodation for people. They've got the roof of their head, they'll have central heating, they'll have a bathroom, they'll have all commodity. Aesthetically, they may not be so smart, but not bad at all. If the trees had been in bloom, then it would have been maybe a different look. That's right, yes.
After the trip to Musgrave Street, I asked Nonna what it was like bringing up her kids in England.
Well, the thing that I missed most of all was my mother, because I didn't have anybody to advise me what to do for the best, how to do the right thing, how to nurture them in the best way. That probably was the hardest thing, not having anybody near to me that could advise me what to do for the children. But then again, I loved them so much. I think my love was sufficient for them, really.
My dad can speak excellent Italian. When Nonna had my dad and Uncle Albert, I wondered, did she speak to them in Italian or English?
Well, to start with, it was definitely Italian, because you can't pour out your love without your mother tongue. It must be in Italian. And then, of course, it had to be English, because we were in England. You have to live the English way. But the only time when I did speak in Italian, when I used to get mad. Oh, yes, that was when my self-just really came out. I used to shout in Italian, but it was really lovely to have my children when I did have them. English or Italian, it didn't really matter. I used to say, tesoro, amore. I used to say things like that and start kissing them from the top to the bottom. I used to pretend to put pepper and salt in their arm and say that I was eating them up. Oh, this is my lovely sausages. And they used to love and love. Don't do it, Mum. But of course, they wanted me to do it. And one day I remember I made Albert laugh so much that he really had hiccup, seriously. And I said, well, I better stop. And he said to me, I am shouting to you and say, don't. You keep on doing it, Mum. That was the best one. Good heavens, he must have only been 1.5, 2-year-old. Do you know, when he was 18 months old, he knew 18 nursery rhymes at 18 months, my child. I remember the day when they went to play in the park, John with his friends, lovely day, but of course it was a season when the weather changed in 2 seconds. This is England after all. And it started to pour and pour. And I thought, oh well, don't worry, Maria, they'll be here in a minute, they'll be here now. But they didn't. Short legs take longer time to reach the house, even when they're running, I must admit that. But I was very, very worried. By the time they arrived, I was more than worried. I was almost angry, because I didn't want it to get cold, I didn't want to feel ill. So when they arrived at the door, as I opened the door, I screamed out, in Venetian, you know, not in Italian this time. Oh, mamma mia, Benedetta, cosa c'è che ti ha fatto? Dov'è che ti è stato tutto questo tempo? The friend that he was with completely froze then and there. I think John realized that the boy was upset, and he turned around, looked at him and said, oh, don't worry, she always goes on like this when she's worried. She's all right, she was only worried we were getting cold and wet. Then my mum went for a towel, dried us both, made us a drink, gave us a biscuit, everything went fine. And the little boy did like my mum, he said to me afterwards.
Nonna's had various jobs over the years, but teaching has been her most enjoyable.
Ciao, Penny, vieni, andiamo come
Penny is one of Nonna's students, and over the past few years they have become really close friends.
Berlin?
Ti piace quella?
Sì.
Non avrei mai pensato, perché c'è il dolce, c'è il formaggio, eccetera, ho capito? Ah, benissimo. Naturalmente avete bevuto del buon vino, eh?
I asked Penny how long she's been learning with Nonna and how they get along together.
On and off for a few years, but I've taken it more seriously a couple of years ago because Maria wanted me to take my GCSE, which I got.
Well, she rang me to tell me, guess what? I said, what? I've got an A star. Well, I just screamed, an A star! I've never had an A star before. I've had A's, but never an A star. She is my star pupil. What can you expect more than that? And in my old age as that, she's made an old woman happy, very happy and very proud. Oh, I've been teaching a long, long time, sweetheart. Many, many years, probably. If I taught at the college for 34, so they will tell you that I've been teaching on and off for about 40 years, I think. And it's been such a pleasure, such a wonderful, wonderful experience.
She's lovely. She is caring and loyal. She's a very dear friend. She's a really good teacher because she's enthusiastic and she passes the enthusiasm on to the pupil.
Oh, that is such a large, comprehensive question. What do I enjoy more? The transmission of my language to other people, the feedback that I get from them, the brightness in their eyes when they've said the sentence correct and they see me, because sometimes I jump for joy when somebody says a phrase correctly, especially when it is difficult, with difficult verbs, because the Italian grammar is a what should I say? A horrible thing. I was going to say a beggar. Am I allowed to say that? Well, the last day at college, we decided that we wouldn't have a lesson. We would have a bit of conversation and then a little bit of gathering something to eat, etc. And in fact, they brought sausages and the pizza and a focaccia and some wine, and it was very pleasant. And all of a sudden they said to one of the other pupils, "Oh, John, you know what you have to do now?" And he said, "Oh yes, just a minute please." Excuse me. So he left the room and I thought, oh, this is happening now. Something is happening now. Did it happen? Well, when he opened the door, he walked in, not with a bunch of flowers or two bunches of flowers. He walked in with a full tree in blooms. I just went mad from the excitement. Nothing was expected like this at all. It really not only surprised, I was flabbergasted, absolutely. What a lovely word, flabbergasted, isn't it? Seaton Carew itself, everybody say it is the village. They're very proud of being Seatonian. All the Seatonians are. It's a lovely little place. 10 minutes walking to the seaside. Get a bus. I haven't got the car now. Get the bus into town. It's a lovely little town. The people are lovely. I just enjoy living here.
It's okay, isn't it? Well, never mind.
Nonna really liked her life here in Seaton. She invited me to a game of cards where she goes twice a week to catch up with her friends. After seeing Nonna's poker face, I got the impression that she takes this game really too seriously.
No, I won't leave the room. How am I getting on? I've done terrible. I've never done so badly as I have done today. Supposed to stimulate your brain? It must be the cold outside. It's certainly not agreeing with me today. But I'm having a cup of tea, and I'm having my biscuit, and I'm quite happy, thank you.
Even though Nonna really loves Seaton, there's one thing that she's not so happy about.
The ghost ships are here. I have been to see them. They've come all the way from America. We believe that they contain some toxin. We have got plenty of factory here round about manufacturing magnesium, manufacturing dioxide, pigmentation, one thing and another. I particularly don't want these ships here. Yes, the argument is of the other reason. A lot of people will have work to do. There will be development in the town. It will be beneficial to the inhabitants. But really, is toxin worth jobs? Yes, compared to Venice, well, there is a huge difference, a gigantic difference. They're both situated in the northeast, one in Italy and one in England. But because of the differential of the logistic of the town, of the city, of the place, I would say that where in England the northeast is a little bit less developed, shall we say, than the south, it is the other way about in Italy. It is the north of Italy that is much more developed. And Venice is such a beautiful place, such a unique place. It is the queen of the Adriatic after all. You talk about architecture and I melt away, completely melt away, because the architecture, we go back sometimes to the 11th and 12th century, what you would say in England, Norman time. But we had doges then that used to get married to the sea. They used to get hold of a wedding ring, throw it into the sea, they were married there. And you got only to look at the Ducal Palace, you got to look at all the palaces in the Canal Grande, one more beautiful than the other. It is Norman, it is Gothic, not modern. We don't have modern architecture at the moment, but things change. Do you know that in Venice there are 460 bridges? Did you ever know that? No, of course you didn't. Impossible to figure out in your mind 460 bridges. The very famous one, the Bridge of Sighs, where the prisoner used to go from one place to the other, go into the prison, and you never saw the end of it. The other famous bridge is, of course, the Rialto Bridge, one of the few bridges in the world where shops are built within the bridge. Can you imagine? Outside the facade of St. Mark Church, there are 4 huge horses in bronze. The Italian people you can't do it very well to the English because maybe they didn't understand as much as the Venetian or the people from the surrounding cities. They come and you say, "Oh, do you like our 3 horses?" Excuse me, there are 4. No, look, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. No, 4. No, 3. I am Venetian, I know how many horses we've got. I bet you 1,000 lire that there are 3 horses. Go on then, 1,000 lire bet, 4 horses. We go to somebody else. Excuse me, how many horses are there? 4. I'm Venetian, I know there are 3. What do you mean there are 3 horses? Now look, 1, 2, 3 horses and a mare. Venice, you're really talking of the city now that I love. The beautiful city, the architecture, the lagoon, the bridges, the squares, the small squares, the chic of the people. It is the city of dreams after all.
I decided to make this documentary to show my Nonna to the world. Since making it, I've discovered we've got a lot in common and Nonna and I have become a lot closer. She's really enjoyed being the star of the show and I've liked filming it. This will be an everlasting reminder of the great relationship between me and my Nonna.
La
certainly going to make you and Kieran a nice cup of tea, proper English cup of tea, with milk of course, no lemon. I'm going now, I'm going to get you a nice cup of tea. Come on then, are you coming then?
Mi anno e viso